Hey guys, Ron for FunctionBuilt-Aquatics. This is our brand new school of wild caught, of course, Cardinal Tetras. These guys are pretty good size. Some of the females in here, I assume are females, are actually 2 inches long. And I have the ability to pick up more. The shop that I was able to grab these guys, they have probably close to 100 of them. And unlike neon tetras, Cardinal Tetras are still being widely collected in their natural environment. They're not being captive bred to the numbers that neon tetras are. And a lot of it has to do with difficulty. There are methods that they have for breeding Cardinal Tetras. They're just not the same for breeding neon tetras. Neon tetras, I believe, are typically bred as pairs in small cubicles with a lot of water volume going through them, and for the most part they're typically bred in a lot of cooler conditions where the cardinals like warmer water. Cardinals are usually pretty good companions for discus and angelfish when they're this size and not small, because they can actually handle the temperatures in the high 80s. In some instances, I've heard of people actually pushing to 90 with no problem. I don't know if that would happen indoors, but for the most part, anything in the mid to high 80s is typically accepted by Cardinal Tetras, where neons will readily accept temperatures in the low 70s. I actually keep my neons in my South American paludarium set up at about 71 to 72 degrees. So I could probably get away with not even putting a heater on those guys, because my basement stays pretty warm and pretty cool, so it's fairly easy to regulate the temperatures. But I can actually keep the neon tetras without a heater if I wanted to. The Cardinals I'm actually keeping right now at about 78 to 80 degrees is the temperature fluctuation in this system. I have no intention in pushing it any north of that, because I do have all our cories and bleeding hearts down here, and all the cory cats that are in this setup that I'm trying to spawn the bleeding hearts and the cory cats in. They wouldn't appreciate the temperatures in the 80s. These are our females that are pretty much ready and already well conditioned. We've had them in this system away from the male that we're going to breed each individual female gourami with, going on probably about 2.5 weeks now. And as you can tell by their bellies, they're all well fed. And they've been spending a whole lot of time chilling out and hanging out together. So we'll keep the females separated from the male and only put them with the male in a 10-gallon tank, half full with water, same way we do with our wild betta fish when we want to spawn them. He's pretty aggressive, and when I tried putting him in here with them, he was just banging on them and chasing them all over the place. And the best way to do it is, in my opinion, is to put them together for breeding purposes, unless you have a super big tank. 20-gallon high is not big enough to cull the aggression from a male who's trying to force them into submission. So in this tank, I have pretty much all the cory cats that are in our collection are in this 33 long. Quickly step back. So all the cory cats that are in our possession are in the 33. The 22 high is now the Cardinal Tetras, and the gouramis are in here just for a short period of time. Probably going to move these guys out soon, because I plan on putting some juvenile angelfish that I'm pick up from Aquariums by Mike. I like to put some of the juvenile angels in with the Cardinals, and then some in this tank by themselves. We also picked up a bristlenose pleco, one of my first bushy nose. Haven't had a bushy nose in a long time, but I'm going to start getting into bringing in some plecos to help not only maintain cleanliness in the system by eating the excess food, but they're just pretty cool to keep also. I mean, they're really interesting animals. So this is basically my first rack system in this room. I plan on expanding right into that corner. I'm going to move the betta fish onto their own rack. But in this corner, I plan on expanding, either putting 2 40-gallon breeders, which would give me another 80 gallons of volume. I can actually fit, I have 40 inches of space from the end of this rack to the wall. So I figured, why use it all? I mean, I don't want to make it too tight. I could probably get in there with 2 40-gallon breeders, which are 36 by 18, which would fit perfect, and have them stacked, bang bang like that. And then what we could do is bring in more Cories, Tetras, and pretty much all South Americans. I'll tell you what, I've really appreciated the Cory cats. I love their behavior. I'm amazed at how much food they love to eat. I mean, they're just like pigs. Each one of them has a plump little belly on them. And I realize it does take a lot of food to maintain Cory cats and plecos. You have to feed them very often and feed them large quantities. So you better have a filtration system that can handle it. We're still running really well with the fluidized filter and the K1 media. That's the K1 Mini. And everything seems to be working rather well. I added this new case, actually this container I picked up at IKEA. And what it is basically a shower type case where you would put your shampoos and your shower products in, and you would suction cup it right there onto your shower wall. It's an awesome deal because the suction cup on that thing is amazingly strong. And it already has the holes drilled in it, so I didn't have to do anything. So what I did was I'm putting an extra sponge in there for the pre-filter for the filter to keep it cycled. And I also have some denitrate material while I'm waiting for the fluidized filter to still mature. It's not fully matured yet. So while I'm waiting for that to mature, you know, I figured the media can help a little bit. I have a bag of peat to help keep the pH low. And I also have an Eheim aqua bowl in there to keep the surface, actually the bottom of the filter clear. I noticed that we were getting some buildup. You know, of course, even though I have 2 pre-filters, you're going to get some buildup sometimes in the bottom of your sump. But it seems like the aqua bowl is doing a really good job of pretty much sucking most of it up. And when it doesn't suck up, I can just go in there with a siphon and remove that little mountain right there of detritus myself. But the wet-dry filter seems to be working rather well. I just serviced it and replaced the pre-filters, so everything seems to be doing pretty good. If I had to change anything in the system, there's a couple things I would do. First, the 33-gallon tank that's in this system was pre-drilled when I bought it. And it was only drilled for a 1/2-inch bulkhead. It kind of sucks. The 2 top 20 highs were pre-drilled for 3/4-inch bulkheads. So you have a lot of water volume coming out of the 2 20-gallon highs going into the 33 with only 1/2-inch pipe. So you got 2 3/4 going into 1/2 inch. So what I had to do is to compensate for that is I just cut open the strainers and made them wider. And I put some mesh right there to help protect any of the fish from getting sucked in, because Cory cats are so inquisitive, they'll go right up to the strainer and check it out. And I wouldn't want them to get sucked in. The holes are big enough to actually suck some of the small Cories in. So I put the plastic mesh screening on there to keep that from happening. And I could tell there's a snail right there stopped. He was one of the snails that were in one of the spawning mops. But I've been trying to keep snails out of the system because I don't want snails eating the plants. So if I had to do anything different, I would actually go 3/4 all around. But I didn't drill these tanks myself, I bought them drilled. That's what you have to deal with sometimes when you buy, you know, already pre-used aquariums. Sometimes, you know, you got to kind of fine-tune a little bit. Other than that, you know, the water pump is doing a fantastic job of moving water at barely 6 foot ahead. Oh, the lights. Now, I don't know if I ever shot the lights in this. These are from IKEA. These are flower pots from IKEA. King of DIY actually has one of these builds on his channel, so I'm not going to go into depth, but it was pretty simple. I bought the pre-wired end caps from IKEA for $7.99. I paid $2.50, $3 for the actual planters themselves, and pretty simple. I drilled a hole in the top, screwed the end caps in from top into bottom, which sandwiched it right into the planter. And I'm using a household LED bulb, about 5500 Kelvin, which actually does a fantastic job of getting some light down where I want it. And so you're looking at about $10 each. Bing, bing. And pretty much have the light I need for that. Now on the 33, I went a little different, and I went with stick-on LED strips. Another simple deal. And I bought about 35 to 50 foot of that online from eBay for probably less than 20 bucks. And I have tons of it, so I can actually run it in all the other systems I have. So this is my first centralized system in our fish room. It's not the first one I ever worked with. I've actually worked with them before, but this is the first one I've actually built for myself in my own home. The next one will be a 15 to 16 foot centralized system, and I'm still thinking about whether or not I want to do a colony of Frontosa. I mean, can you imagine that? 16 feet of aquariums, all Frontosas, all different, you know, variety of Frontosa, and just captive breed those guys. And I also have a nice connection for discus that Nathan and I are actually thinking about maybe doing that 16-foot wall, all discus, and breed discus. I have a source that I actually can move the fry in large quantities, whatever really having to list them up on Aquabid. And if that's the case, I'd buy the pairs from him, and Nathan and I can become satellite breeders for this individual. So as he runs low on fry on his end, then he can lean on us and say, hey guys, what do you got working fry-wise? And then Nathan and I can turn around and dump all our fry right on him, keep some of the ones we want ourselves, but for the most part move them in sheer volume and never have to worry about getting stuck with them. It'd be a nice way to be able to turn some money back into this fish room once this fish room's done, and I've been laying money out pretty much out of pocket. It'd be nice to bring some back. So this is Ron from FunctionBuilt-Aquatics, guys. This is my Tetra rack system, well, with the visiting gouramis. Thank you very much. Bye.
Philosopher? Yes. 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 Yes.